What is the problem with a man that has an anger characteristic about him? Now, I don't mean he gets angry periodically. I mean, you could look at this guy and he's upset. He's the kind of guy that if there's a cloud in the sky, it's got to rain today. I mean, that's just how he looks at life. I mean, one little cloud out there and he'll carry an umbrella all of his life. He just knows it's going to storm, lightning's going to strike him, something. Okay? What's wrong with that guy? Come on. He's got more of an anger problem, don't you think? There's something going on with this guy that's a little bit more than anger. For instance, thou shalt not kill. But I say to you that if you call your brother a rocket or a fool without worthy cause, you're in danger of the fire, of hell fire. So, but in other words, there's more of a problem here than just you saying what you said. Okay? These are hard issues. This goes to the depth of man's soul. That's what Matthew 5 through 7 does. It takes it to the brink of the soul. I mean, it takes it to the depth of the soul. Those Pharisees had no chance, if you want to use the word chance, no chance to get away from this. I mean, it was down where they really lived. Really lived. Jesus saying there's more to it than just thou shalt not kill. There's more to it than just not being angry. Of course, we've learned in our counseling class. There's more to it. There's idolatry. Idols of the heart. Self-centeredness. Selfishness. Go on down the list. I got to have it my way. I got to have the last word. If I don't, if things don't go like I want them to, the whole world's coming to an end because it's not going my way. God help you, is all I know to say. May God help you. You know, I hope that nobody, no matter how the election goes, decides to end it all. Yeah. I'm not. Now, the Lord may end it all, but that's His call. It belongs to Him. Okay? I'm not. I'm not hiding anywhere. I'm not going to an island off the coast somewhere and hiding. I'm just not going to do it. Stay right here till He comes or till He takes me, one of the two. What's wrong with that guy? He got a heart issue, don't he? You know why, Tim? Because nobody's ever confronted the real problem. The real problem is his heart, not his anger. The real problem with an adulterer is his heart, not his adultery. The real problem with a thief is not that he steals, it's his heart. You've got to understand this. Because it's the same thing true with you. Although you're maybe not an adulterer, you're not a thief, you're not this, you're not that. It's still heart issues. When you study the Word of God, it's not just so you can teach a lesson or teach the kids or these are heart issues. God deals with the heart of man continuously every time you open the book. Every time you open a book. Every time the Spirit of God speaks to you through the book, etc. Then we've got to do this, and we'll quit. We've got to contemplate what is the proper action to take in resolving this conflict. You can't just confront it and say, well, I gave him a piece of my mind. I guess I told him. I guess I got the last word. I guess I proved him wrong. That's not the issue. I feel much better now that I gave him a piece of my mind. Well, don't give away too much of that. You need about all you've got. Just hang on to it, okay? Don't give it away. And by the way, it's not a piece of your mind that he needs. It's from God's mind that he needs. Okay? That's what love does. Love brings it from God to him. Okay? We've got to contemplate the right action to take. You can't just throw a rock, break a glass, and walk away. There's got to be a remedy. There's got to be a solution. There's got to be a resolution to this. Because God expects us to walk out in brotherly love. He expects us to be in fellowship and communion with one another and with Him. So, what do? Well, Paul said in Ephesians chapter 4, let all bitterness, wrath, and anger, and clamor, evil speaking be put away from you. That's the first thing. We've got to put away all the sinful things here that we know of. Okay? And you know the put off, put on principles, so I'm not going to go through all that. And here's the put on. And be ye kind one to another. Benevolent is the word for kind there. It means to be giving of yourself. Giving a gift to someone who's needy. A gift of love. A gift of affection. That's benevolence, by the way. Not that they deserve it. Not that they merit it. That's not the point. Be ye benevolent one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. So we got to okay, we got to put this stuff off. You get rid of all this emotional stuff that people wrestle with and hang on to, you're halfway home. Because our emotions, they were given to us by God, by the way. And God expects us to have emotions. But He expects our emotions to be guided by truth. Okay? By truth. If you're happy, for instance, it ought to be because you're obedient to God. John 13:17. Happy are ye if you know these things and you do them. I mean, help me out a little bit. So all of that, you can go through all that. But the anger and the things that we need to put away from us biblically, etc. And what's the objective? Here we go. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of meekness, lest thou also be tempted. The goal is to restore him, which would include his relationship with me, his relationship with God, or my relationship with him and relationship with God. Restoration is the goal. It's not who wins the battle. You can win a lot of battles and lose the war. Okay? You better be careful about that. You fly a flag too quick, you may see it tumble down. I'm not interested in winning the battle. I'm in a war. All the way home. My flesh lusts against the spirit against the flesh. I struggle. Peter struggled. I struggle with that. I'm in a war. So I have to consciously and conscientiously put these things to practice. Even when I don't want to. Say, Pastor, you ought to want to. No, there's sometimes I want to get even. And sometimes I want to get ahead. And sometimes I just want to get. But I always know this. Over top of all those want-tos is this. I also want to obey God. Which supersedes any want-to that I would have. Any rights that I think I would have. Any privilege that I think I would have. All come from God. And that's the end of that. So when we deal with sin between ourselves, I want you to know we're obligated to do so. We're obligated to make these observations. We're obligated to reach the objective of restoring one another in fellowship with one another. Regardless. Absolutely regardless. Now, we close with this. Sometimes behind closed doors, this occurs too frequently. Between perhaps a husband and a wife that would practice it with anyone else other than a husband and wife. Sometimes between parents and children that we would practice with anyone but our children as parents. Sometimes the people we love the most, familial, we neglect the most. As if that's not significant to my Christian walk. Let me tell you something. It starts there, your Christian walk does. It starts right there where you are. In the primary relationship God has given us, the familiar relationship God has given, etc., etc. And we spread to the church, of course. And the point being to that is this. Don't go far to look for an opportunity to practice this. Okay? Kids sin. Kids need forgiveness. Among other things. I need forgiveness. Edna needs forgiveness. From me sometimes. I need it from her many times. I didn't want to lie. Familial relationships are just as significant as any other relationship. We need to be careful. Don't let this pass you up. It's worship. It's true worship.